Good morning, grade fives, and welcome to your English lesson for today. I hope that you are in a great mood. I am feeling fabulous today. I think I did sleep very well. The last couple of days I haven't been sleeping well. My neck has been sore. Don't know why. I think it's age. Who knows? Or I think as it's getting cold, as you can see, I'm cold. I'm such a wuss when it comes to the weather, so don't mind me. So boys and girls, this lesson is brought to you by WorksheetCloud. And remember, any questions, email them to grade5@worksheetcloud.com. So I was thinking that the last English lesson that I had with you, I completely forgot to tell my joke of the day. How could I? So I just wanted to start off and apologize. So for some of you that I know you've been enjoying my jokes, which I am very glad. I've heard some good things about my jokes. I do have to say, and then I didn't come up with them. Okay, I have searched for some jokes. So I do hope that they are making you smile. And so I've remembered, and I don't know why I didn't last time. Clearly my mind was all over the show. But are you ready for today's joke? And today's one is a goodie. I love it, and I think it is a really good one. I'm going to have to explain it though, because I do feel like it needs a bit of an explanation. Okay, so why does a seagull fly over the sea? Why does a seagull fly over the sea? Why? Well, because if it flew over a bay, it would be called a bagel. So, let me just explain. So, sea flies over the seagull. If it flies over a bay, it's a bagel. So, it's also like what you eat. Okay, so either you didn't get it the first time around, now you do because of my amazing explanations, or you got it first time around and you're probably thinking, oh, Miss Cohen, get on with it. Okay, so either way, you're smiling, you're happy, you're ready to learn, and let's do this. Okay, so boys and girls, the last time that I taught you, remember we started with pronouns. This is our second lesson of our pronoun, our 3-part pronoun series, and today we are going to be looking at relative pronouns. So that is the topic for today. Yes, the last time I saw you, we spoke about personal pronouns. Today we're speaking about relative pronouns. And the next time I see you, we are going to be speaking about possessive pronouns. Okay, so let's get started on relative pronouns. What exactly is a relative pronoun? So a relative pronoun links and introduces a relative cause to another sentence. They relate back to something or someone else. Okay, so I think let me just unpack that a little bit more. So let's read it again. A relative pronoun links and introduces a relative cause to another sentence. Okay, so it links relative causes to another sentence. They relate back to something else or someone else. So they refer and they relate. So as in the name, or as the name suggests, relative pronoun, they relate back to that person or that thing. Okay, so for example, Jane, who visits frequently, did not come today. So the who in this sentence would be classified as a relative pronoun because this who is referring to Jane. It's relating back to Jane. Right, so we are going to be looking at some very specific relative pronoun words that you will find quite often in sentences and in the English language, and we're going to look at examples in sentences using these relative pronouns. So the very first relative pronoun that we are going to be looking at is the word who, just as the example that I showed you. So for example, Caroline, who loves to read, picked out her book. So the who in this case refers or relates back to Caroline. So Caroline, who loves to read, picked out her book. So the who, we are specifically talking about Caroline. We're not speaking about anyone else. That who is related to Caroline. Okay. Let's look at our second type of relative pronoun. Right, our second type is the word whose. Okay, so the way that I say it, it sounds like who, so you say it as who, but with the SE at the end, whose. So, in a sentence, the boy whose dog was loose ran away quickly. Right. So in this sentence, not only we are referring, we've used the word whose dog. So we are saying that it's not just anybody's dog, it is that boy's dog. So the boy whose dog was loose ran away. So this whose over here, it's relating to the boy's dog specifically. Okay, and it's not just relating to a random dog, it is the boy's dog. So the boy whose dog was loose ran away quickly, relating to the boy's dog. Okay, the next relative pronoun that we have a look at is the word whom. So I'm sure some of you are picking up that a lot of them start with a W. So we've looked at who, whose, now whom is our third relative pronoun for today's lesson. So whom. So for example, the teacher chose someone whom she thought was responsible. So in this particular case, the word whom, we are referring to an individual. Okay, so we're referring to a person, but that person's identity is unknown. So we don't know who, but we know it is a person. So the teacher chose someone whom she thought was responsible. So if we knew who it was and we could replace that with Sally, the teacher chose, instead of someone, the teacher chose Sally, who she thought was responsible. And we know who would be referred to or be attached and relate to Sally. But in this case, we are using whom because we don't have the name of that pupil. We don't know specifically who that teacher is referring to. And so the teacher chose someone whom she thought was responsible. We don't have a name, we don't have an identity, but we know it relates to a person. Okay, so remember, it's all about relating one aspect to another. So we are relating a person to and we're attaching it to someone that the teacher is going to choose, right? Okay, now the next one unfortunately doesn't start with a W, but it is our that question. Our that word, sorry. So let's have a look at it as an example. John did all the homework that his teacher assigned to him. So in this case, the word that is not referring to a person. This that is referring to homework. Now homework is non-living. Homework is something physical. It is homework. We know it is something that they're doing at home, and it's not referring to something that's actually alive. Okay, so when we say John did all the homework that his teacher assigned to him, so the homework, the word that is related to the homework, right? And so that is another relative pronoun. Remember, it is important to see which word relates to what is the focus of that particular sentence. So in this case, the pronoun, the relative pronoun is the word that, right? And another one. Okay, so this one does start with a W. Let me move myself out of the way, position me over there. Perfect. Okay, right. So this relative pronoun is a witch. Now, this is not a witch with a pointy black hat and a broom. This is a witch that is spelled W-H-I-C-H. Please look at the spelling. Remember, a word that sounds the same but is spelled differently is called a homonym. Good, homonym. It means something completely different, but it is it means something completely different, but it sounds the same and it's spelt differently. So this witch is not the witch with the pointy black hat. The pointy black hat witch is W-I-T-C-H, as in a I will not do that again. Right, so this which is one of our relative pronouns, and let's have a look at an example in a sentence. The homework, which was hard, took 2 hours to complete. Okay, so this which in this sentence is a little bit different to that in the previous example. Okay, also referring to the homework. So the homework, which was hard, so this which is almost acts like this relative pronoun. It's relating to how the homework was difficult. Okay, and so it's almost like it's describing the homework in the middle of a sentence. So instead of saying the homework took 2 hours to complete, I could easily have a sentence and say the homework took 2 hours to complete. But if I take it a step further and I add a little bit of a description to the homework. So if you didn't add a description, my follow-up question would be, why did it take you 2 hours to complete that homework? So instead of having a follow-up question, if I add a little bit extra in the sentence, remember English is about having rich, full sentences that describe what is being done. Okay, so the homework, now I'm going to explain it, which was hard, took 2 hours to complete. Okay, so do you see the power of a relative pronoun? Adds that extra description. So now the biggest question, so we've had a look at a few relative pronouns: who, whose, which, that, and I'm missing one, my fifth one. I'm sure we'll have a look at it now. Okay, but the most important question is, when should you actually use each? So that is what we're going to look at. When do we use that? When do we use which? When do we use who? Where do we use whose? Whom is the other one. When do we actually use all of them? Right, so let's have a look at this table. Now this table is quite an important one. So whenever you are stuck, this is a great point of reference for you to use to see, oh, do I use whom? Do I use which? Do I use that? So let's have a look. We always use who, whom, and whose, and even that to refer to people sometimes, right? So people, more often we would use who and whom to refer to people. If we're talking about a person's belonging, we will say whose. Whose book is that? Whose pen does this belong to? So it refers to somebody, an individual which we don't know, but it is also a possession of that person, right? Whose. Right, so let's have a look here. If I want to use the word who, I use people. It refers to a person. Whom, a person. If I want to use which or that, okay, things, which is things or ideas. That is usually people, things, or ideas, as well as whose, people, things, or ideas. Okay, so keep this in mind if you want to maybe make a note of it, of when I use these particular relative pronouns for future use. Okay, so now we are going to look at certain examples. Where am I going to move myself? I think here at the bottom. Right, okay. So let's have a look at 2 examples. Who or whom? We use who to replace the pronouns I, she, he, we, and they. So who is a relative pronoun, and it's used to replace a personal pronoun. So instead of saying, if I had to, here, let's just have a look at this example. So if I said she jumped in the pool, if I had to change that sentence, now she is a personal pronoun. If I have to change that she and change that sentence into this is the woman who jumped in the pool, right? And then if I had to say she jumped in the pool, that is the woman who jumped in the pool. So who refers to a person. And I've used the who in place of the she. Okay, let's look at another example. Now we use whom to replace me, her, him, us, or them. Okay, now I know that this can be a little bit confusing, but it's just practice. I would suggest at the end of this video, maybe watch it again, take notes of when we use what. And the more you just practice the English language, also, I encourage all of you to read as much as possible. I always encourage my students to read. Either read books, read articles, read magazines, read newspapers, read all the time, because reading gives you knowledge, and knowledge gives you an opportunity to learn. Okay, so read. Right, so whom. So for example, if I said they have found her, they found her. Now if I change that sentence and I said they have found the woman whom escaped. Okay, and so instead of her, I would put the word whom if I change that sentence around. So they have found her. But if I have to say in a past tense, they have found the woman whom escaped. Right, so there's also, if I say they have found her, that's something that's happened in the present. They have found her. Right, now if I speak about it as if it happened yesterday, they have found the woman whom escaped. Okay, just some sort of tricks and tips with these relative pronouns. Okay, now it is your turn. I'm going to give you 3 examples of words. So have a look over here. Let me just move me over there. So we've got the words whom, whose, and that. And we've got a sentence, and it's a matter of filling in the blank. Okay, so the sentence says, the book, blank, I got from the library is due tomorrow. So is the sentence, the book whom I got from the library is due tomorrow? The book whose I got from the library is due tomorrow? Or the book that I got from the library is due tomorrow? So remember the rules, whom, whose, and that. Which one refers to a person? Which one refers to a thing? Which one can refer to both even? So in this particular case, I hope you all chose that. Right, good. The next one, we walked past the house in blank I grew up. Is the word we walked past the house in which I grew up? Or we walked past the house in whose I grew up? We walked past the house in that I grew up. Which one is it? Which one is it? Okay, good. Which I grew up. Okay, good. Right. Next. The man blank restaurant burnt down was very sad. So is it the man whom restaurant burnt down was very sad? The man whose restaurant burnt down was very sad? Or the man that restaurant burnt down was very sad? So remember, whose refers to the possession. So the restaurant belongs to the man. So just like my previous example when I said, whose pen does this belong to? It refers to a sense of belonging, the word whose. The man whose restaurant burnt down was very sad. Right, next. The family blank lives next door needs a babysitter. So, is it the family which lives next door needs a babysitter? The family who lives next door needs a babysitter? The family whom lives next door needs a babysitter? The answer is who. Right, the family who lives next door needs a babysitter. Good. I hope you're getting these all correct. If not, practice, and that's exactly what we are doing today. Right. My teacher, Miss Kun, something I respect, retired last year. Okay, maybe it doesn't refer to me because I'm not going to retire. I've still got a long way to retire. Very long way to retire. So I apologize for my spelling mistake. It should be my. So my teacher, is it whom I respect retired last year? Is it my teacher whose I respect retired last year? Or is it my teacher that I respect retired last year? Which one is it? Whom, because whom refers to a person. Whom is attached to my teacher. It relates to my teacher. My teacher whom I respect retired last year. Good. Right. Now, the other thing so that's it for our practices, but the other thing that I want to just talk about is relative pronouns can also be used to combine certain sentences as well, right? And so what do I mean by that? So if I have the sentence such as this, I told Mary, full stop. Mary then told Martha, right? So we can also use a relative pronoun as to take the place of a conjunction. Remember, a conjunction is used to also join sentences together. We can also use relative pronouns. So again, in this case, we don't want to say, I told Mary, Mary then told Martha. Mary is being used way too often. Okay, Mary, Mary, Mary. So what do we use to replace Mary? So we can use the word who to combine the two sentences, remove this full stop and combine the two sentences together. Okay, so let's have a look at that example. Right, I told Mary, who then told Martha. So this who over here is relating to Mary. It's referring to Mary. So we've taken that full stop away. We've replaced who. We've taken that second Mary away and we've replaced it with who, because we know this who, we're referring to Mary. Okay, so we can also use relative pronouns to combine sentences as well. Let's look at another example. Right, the singer was very talented. The singer won the contest. So boys and girls, instead of always starting a sentence, the singer did this, the singer did that, the singer then did this, the singer went here, the singer went there, and so on. And so in terms of the flow, in terms of the creativity, it's very, very limited. And so this is why relative pronouns are so beautiful, because we can take that full stop away, we can combine the sentences. Remember, we can remove this as a simple sentence and make it into a compound sentence. And so remove that full stop, take away the one singer. And so what are we going to do? We're also going to use who, right? The singer who was very talented won the contest. So I can say the singer who was very talented won the contest. I've taken away that singer, right? I've replaced who and I've put it strategically in the sentence right over here. The singer who was very talented won the contest, right? So it also depends where you put your who. So I wouldn't say the singer was very, very talented who won the contest. I can also say the singer who was very talented won the contest. Okay, so do you see how we can use relative pronouns to remove that that person's identity or that person and use a relative pronoun in its particular place? Okay, another example. Spiders build beautiful webs. They eat the flies they catch. So what can we do with this sentence? I want to use the word which to combine these sentences. So how am I going to do that? Right, so I'm going to say spiders which build beautiful webs, comma, eat the flies they catch. So instead of just saying spiders build beautiful webs, full stop, they eat the flies they catch, full stop, I can also say spiders which build beautiful webs, eat the flies they catch. Okay, so just by adding that extra word which gives me this sentence that just flows so beautifully. Okay. Oh, and so grade fives, that brings me to the end of our lesson today. Just practice your relative pronouns, watch the video again, and it's just practice, practice, practice. Pronouns can be tricky, and it is something that you're going to be doing quite regularly. You're going to be doing it throughout this year in grade 5. You're going to do it in grade 6, in grade 7, in high school. And so it's just practice, practice, practice. All right. So I'm with you. And I'm here for you. I'm thinking about you. And more importantly, I just hope that you have a phenomenal day ahead. Enjoy the beautiful weather wherever you are. I'm sending lots of love. And I will see you all again soon. From me, Miss Kun, Hakuna, say it with me, Matata, Be kind to one another. Bye.